lie. I have no idea if it's gonna work or not, but I am so tired of dealing with all of this. Oh my god. And I believe it sends out notifications every time, so I'm sorry if that's the case. I'm just gonna take a look, really verify that everything is working in order. I might just do one of these things like again next time, you know. It appears that let's see. Okay, number 28 is up. Okay, now time to check it on my phone. Wow, it messed up my thumbnail. I hope that one day I become a pro at this stuff. And one day I will. I really hope so. And it'll be such a great time. We'll have so many fun memories. Everything will be fantastic. And honestly, I couldn't imagine more fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it better not have any of these technical issues. I swear to God. Because if it does, this is not gonna be my favorite part of this stuff. Oh my. Okay. YouTube edit. Yeah. Okay, so it screwed with my thumbnail. Guess I'll try to change that. There we go. Sweet. I think it's gonna be as simple as that. So now if I check my channel. Bloody hell. And my kick just got disconnected. Lovely. Oh great, the thumbnail changed quick. Kick is okay. We should be okay now. I'm gonna hold this up just to make sure and verify. We should be okay now. Alright, cool. Sweet. Sorry for the late start, my friends. Oh my gosh. The thing is, right? I don't actually get to test all of this stuff like before the stream, because otherwise if I do a random stream on Tuesday, you get a notification, you know, of me testing it. And yeah, so I have to do it all on the day. Okay, let's get to it, right? So this one, like we've gone over, it's gonna be a lot of like the vertical stuff. It's gonna be you know, even the DAW we're gonna be using is gonna be in this format. Yo, this is ridiculous. I don't know how the hell we're gonna actually even mix on something like this. You know, we will definitely take a look at, you know, anything that you guys send over. I am happy to take a look at any song or whatever you have in mind. This is just Vichy's music talks, folks. Whatever you want to talk about in music, I'm happy to. But I did have some questions, you know. But before we get into that, I'm wondering if it's a good idea to maybe just take a look at some of the stuff that you guys have sent over. You know, if you guys have any tracks or anything like that, we can listen to them now, you know. Yeah, absolutely. But damn, it's actually fixed. It's working. Welcome to the stream, folks. Hope everyone's having a lovely time. Today we're going to be taking a look right over here at a couple of different tracks that you guys have sent over. You know, we'll be roasting the crap out of them, or we might just be, you know, coming up with some advice, you know what we can do to improve them. But also, I did, you know, I am also looking forward to just hearing, you know, some of your opinions on things as well. You know, just earlier I was in a conversation with a friend of mine, and yeah, dude, she was freaking the hell out. She was like, dude, I'm so terrified because there's like this whole thing with AI, right? Okay, fine, I know, cliche, but when it comes to music, I have seen some crazy things happen. I've seen mixes just be completely done by a freaking AI thing. I've seen compositions. There's been points where I have seen people literally, and I shit you not, right? Text screen, yeah. Hi, Magyari. So I've literally seen what was it? People writing in a basic ass prompt with very little to no freaking like context. Like all they wrote was give me a jazz type of thing in this type of capacity, and I'm like, okay, that's not gonna, you know. And then she, you know, she just wrote down like, oh, with something to do with like animals. Hey, it actually turned out pretty damn good, I'm not gonna lie. I was actually pretty surprised. So, you know, it's a little bit spooky. It's a little bit spooky, but you know what? My take is this is gonna be awesome for artists. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's gonna be absolutely awesome for artists. What do you think? You know, let me know, because I wanna get some takes in here. I wanna see what people have to say. I want you to change my mind. You know, I want you to change my mind about this. I am extremely stubborn on it all. Change my mind, right? AI will be awesome for artists, especially musicians. Change my mind, you know? I don't see it being one of those things where it possibly can be anything bad. But yeah. So, yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? Here's how I'm seeing it. Okay? They used to record on like vinyl, right? And you had to be really good when you're recording on vinyl. In fact, there was I saw this video by a guy named YC Studios. He was actually going over this himself, and he was saying that, like, you know, if they did not get the recording right during that time, then they would have to just toss out the freaking vinyl. They would have to just throw it away. That disc, you know, that thing that people are loving these days. If you didn't get that recording right, everything wasn't perfect, toss it out, start with a new one. Then they went on to tape. I think that's like magnetic technology, right? And when we went on to that, it allowed artists to basically like make a lot more mistakes. They made so many more mistakes, and they were able to just like record right on top of it again and again and again and again, to the point where, like, you know, it, yeah, that's basically what it was. So now we're at the situation where people can record digitally. Now there is no degradation of hardware or anything like that. You don't have like freaking, you know, tapes corroding over time, nothing like that. You just have a freaking SSD and everything is perfectly replicable onto any other format, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. This makes sense. Now we're at that point in time. Now, the thing that brings me a little bit of curiosity is, right, every single time we've done something like this, it's been something that's been like making it easier for the artist, right? It's been something that's made it so that like you don't really have to go back and re-record. Or even like, you know, when we had things like Splice or like these samples and all these different things, you know, making it easier for artists. You know, like I said, we went from, you know, something as crazy as recording on a, like getting the recordings on vinyl, messed up, toss it out, then re-recording on magnetic tape, and then we have something like you know, after the magnetic tapes, you know, we have a lot of different things, you know, we have different formats, but now we're at the point where it's like straight up, without a doubt, just DSP. You record something onto this one of these little bad boys over here, you know, this thing will take all your venting and all that bullshit. It goes right into your program, you know. You want to replace it, you just do that. You just like delete and then boom, let's start it all, let's start rolling again, you know. But then we've come to this weird point where it's like, okay, everything's getting really easy, right? Now AI is coming into the equation, where we've had things being made easier for us. As artists, we've had things made easier for us the entire time. We've had things made easier for us from not just session musicians, but from like a lot of different things, you know. So yeah, like I think that some people will deserve to practically die. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't mean it in a way where it's like literally, but maybe literally. I mean, if you're not somebody that's able to move with the time, is it justifiable that you just die out? You just burn out? You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of people that are complaining about, you know, the use of artificial intelligence in music. And then they'll fall behind because they're not using it. They're not figuring out how to make it the best thing it could possibly be, right? And then they are going to fall behind. What do you guys think about that? I'm actually curious. Hey, McCallion. Hope you're doing well. Just going over a couple of ideas, man. You know, I'm curious as to what people think. I want to know, like, yo, is it one of those things where AI will actually be really bad for artists? Because I just went over a bunch of case studies talking about technology and how it's been improving and how it's been, like, made it just easier for us. You know, remember those people that was saying shit like, yo, nowadays, you know, like, the way to make music is just like the DJs, what they're doing is just like, you know, sitting back like, everyone, hold on. And they press the play button and everyone's just going wild. Like, that's the interpretation of what making things easier is. And so I'm just like, bruh, is that what people are thinking about this? I'm gonna let you guys know some things about, like, what AI will be doing for music, and not just music, but any art form, because I believe there's two types of people, right? I believe there's a type of people which are going to be a bit more like, you know, holy shit, these are our rights, these are, you know, things we got to hold on to, these are, like, you know, we don't want it to be that easy, or, you know, oh crap, some legitimate arguments, like, you know, oh, they're taking out of our data that's they're using as training and all that stuff. But when the cat's out of the bag, man, I'm just saying, it's one of those situations where you can either be on this side where you're, like, actually going to be fretting about it, or hey, everyone's arsenal of weapons have just been revealed. All those people that had, like, you know, those secret mixing sources and tricks and all that stuff, revealed. Everything gone. Now we all start from the very beginning again, right? If we are starting from the very beginning again, right? I think if you've been around for a few years, you still get a little bit of a prestige advantage. It's like one of those video games, you know what I mean? Like, you level up, and then now everyone, season is starting again, everyone starts from the beginning, you know? But because you've had experience in the past seasons, you start to, like, have a major advantage over this stuff. So I think that if you are talking about something as crazy as AI, you know, like within creatives, artists, musicians and all that stuff, honestly, the stuff from the beginning, you've got like a whole season's worth of experience, you know, what can you add to that? Surely you've had some creativity for the future. Surely you've got a cachet of creativity in your mind of how you could possibly use this shit, man. Yeah. What do you think? Do you think that, like, you know, not for, like, necessarily... Okay, let's go to the basics. Let's first look at that. For basic content creators, like, you know, your favorite ones on YouTube, whether it's, you know, like, what's the diversity of content? You got Asmund Gold on one side, and then you have Call Me Chris on the other. Then you have, like, you know, some of these newer gens and older people and all that stuff. I mean, obviously these are streamers and everything, but, like, there's other content creators that are just making videos on a regular, like, even like Mr. Beast or whatever. Do you reckon that the use of AI, yeah, would make it easier for them? But at the same time, how close do you reckon it would take it to what their initial vision was? I don't know. I think it gets them pretty close. My God. So yeah, that's why all the curiosities, folks. That's why it's been on my mind for a minute. But yeah, welcome to the stream. How you doing? You know, just going over some ideas. You know, I had a friend of mine that, like, low-key just got kind of like freaked out because she's an artist. She likes making music, and she was all like, "Oh my God!" Like, because she saw this guy who literally entered a prompt into this thing, and it generated, like, a track completely from scratch. everything that guy asked for. It was like a jazz kind of situation, a fusion, and it understood how to do like funk and all this other stuff, you know. Don't get me wrong, like I'm into all types of music, whether it's rap, trap, or hip hop. Oh gosh, I just listed 3 subs. Rock and roll to EDM to dubstep to, you know, even jazz or classical or even like, you know, some symphonic material. But even like looking at all of this stuff, I'm not gonna lie to you, it has been very, very close. It's really been getting over there. So yeah, my God. So here's the thing, right? I want to take a look at a couple of tracks that people have sent over, and I want to see, you know, what could possibly be done better with them, you know? I want to see to it that So yeah. Things wild. Hey, I'm your bestie. Well, now I am. Hi, Buddha's Adventures. Do I know you? Do I? Or are we new besties today? Oh my, oh my. But yeah. Let's see. Oh, you don't. All right, fair enough. Yeah. I thought today would be a good time, you know, like to go over a couple of things, you know. How have you been though? How have you been, Buddhas? We are new besties. Lovely. Absolutely love that. That's adorable. How are you feeling? Do 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 do. Is it? Yeah. But yeah, so you know, we were just going over a couple ideas earlier. I'm doing all right. You know what? Today's been a. You ever get one of those days where like you've just been working like crazy, or whether you're like you've been dead focused on something, and then you know, like let's say for example, you've been reading a book for like, I don't know, like I don't know, like 8 hours. You've just been reading, and then you've so zoned in. And I'm from London, by the way. I'm British, and you've just been zoned in for a while, and then someone comes up and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And you just like snap out, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm good. This shit's good, man. Totally hyped, feeling great." But the thing is that it takes a minute to like hop over from being in the zone versus like the social thing, you know? So that's how I'm kind of feeling today, you know, like kind of stepping up from one thing to another, trying to like take it a little bit easy. You're Irish! Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, love it. I can't do a good Irish accent, man. So what do you enjoy doing in your own time? What do you enjoy? What makes you have fun? Are you like are you a creative by any chance? Or are you like you know, I don't know, like a 9-to-5, or like self-employed? You like playing games? You know, what's the deal? But yeah, so you know, something that comes to mind is I remember one of my longest freaking journeys, right? I remember my girl at the time, she was like, "Yo, we've been living in London for a really long time. I need to get out. This is so heavy." And you know, I met her at university, right? This is a while ago, you know, so we're not together anymore or anything, but this was a while ago. And she said that, oh my gosh, London is getting so overwhelming. I can't freaking handle it, right? So I was like, all right, well, what do you want to do? She's like, I don't know. And so, you know, she just had like a little bit of a panic attack. So I was just like, all right, well, shucks. All right, here's what we're going to do. Go use the restroom and then go downstairs. I just grabbed my wallet and my keys and we just like got in my car. And I just started driving, and honestly, I didn't even know where to. I just started driving east because that was the closest to the edge of everything, right? And I just drove east as far away to the edge as possible. And yeah, and we landed over there. We were somewhere in Margate, and that was that. We landed there at like 4 a.m. and things are actually still open. I don't know why everything shuts off so early over here in London. I shit you not. All these like smaller local places, they just last longer. I just love them a lot more. And there was one time I was like really craving fish and chips. Like I was really just wanting fish and chips. So I was just there laying in bed and I was just on my phone and I was like, huh, you know what? I want fish and chips. So I just Googled best fish and chips in the world. And at that point, I was like, all right, well, I guess it's somewhere in Scotland. It's in Anstruther. So just go grab my wallet, went down and then started driving. Just wrote the location, started driving. It wasn't until like 3 hours in, I realized, holy shit, dude, this is a freaking 9.5 hour drive. Yeah, I was screwed. And another girl at the time I was with, I was like, hey, sorry for dragging you into this. Can you please book an Airbnb so that when we get there? Yeah. You're a builder though. That's pretty cool. If your name is Bob, I swear to God, I'm going to backhand you to the chin, homie. Like, I just... No. Nah, but I would love the optimism. Builder's pretty cool, man. What is that? Like, you know, is it to do with construction stuff, to do with like building, you know, like doing flooring and stuff like that as well? Or building as in like the actual foundation and structures of a building? Like, or is it something that also works like interior wise as well? Do you get people that are like, hey, I bought the shelf off IKEA. For some reason, I don't have like the 2 cents of a thing in my brain to be able to follow a basic ass manual. Construction. Dope. Yeah. Well, construction of like, what'd you call it? Like within the house or outside? Like building it from the ground up. You know, the people that work outside always been like, holy goddamn, what if they fall? I've been up those scaffoldings before and it's always blown my mind. I'm afraid of heights, by the way, I should mention. If I stand on a stool, I'm like, whoa. Yeah, nah, bro. But yeah, that's like legitimate hard work, man. Honestly, like, I appreciate that. People that are doing things like construction and yeah, that's crazy. That's amazing. You know what? We need like the hardworking ones like you over here in London, because whenever you go to like the central area, everything is always in construction. There's always gonna be a fucking road which is just gonna be taken up by like some sort of construction that's happening. Do you know anything about that? Why is it that there's always works in these areas and they're never actually done? Do you know why? Is it because like people are installing things? Is it like a long wait list of things? Why is it that like every time you go to these like more popular areas, or like, you know, it just never seems to end? It just never ends, and there's so much traffic because of it. And it's not just over in those areas, even like a little bit more suburbans. I just don't understand. It's the same places as well. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. But I would love some insight. Man, welcome to the stream. How you doing today? Oh my. It depends for the hype. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I mean, I think there's been like a crazy advancement in technology, like people going from, I mean, some of these places have not even like moved to fiber optics yet. I think that's like kind of one of those things where like some of these, they've got to redo these things, and there's also like pipeline issues because they use like old ass tech and stuff, you know, pipeline not as in audio works or whatever, but mostly just like construction and shit. So yeah, honestly, respect, man, absolutely respect. I love it. If I wasn't doing music as a career, I'd probably want to be a bartender. I like the serving side of things. I like the you know, primarily the being able to drink behind the bar, you know, with no one looking. You know, it just makes it a lot of fun. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, you want to know a little bit about what I do, like for my thing? I essentially, I'm a creative director, so I spend a lot of my time, you know, looking at visual assets from time to time, or whether it's audio assets and things like that. And that's kind of like my main gig. And I thought, you know, why not do a little short thing where like, you know, people can submit their tracks and we can take a listen to them together. You know, I can just, you know, open it up and we all have a little bit of a jam. But, you know, yeah, so there's audio things, you know, there's, you know, visuals, sometimes branding to do with like, you know, logo design and stuff. You see this logo up here? Yeah, I designed that one. It's, it looks a little odd be coming off as from that circle thing though. I think it kind of removes the thing, the element from its element. I know that sounds a bit ridiculous, but let me see if I can show you guys exactly what that logo looks like real quick. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the gist of it. I just gotta, it looks cool when you have it as media, music and audio. Let's see, server media, Twitch 2, branding. Okay, this is gonna look so odd because there's like a little green line across it. But hey, Buddhist, thank you so much for joining, man. I hope you have a lovely evening. It's 9 p.m. right now. And yeah, take it easy. Hope you sleep well. Bye-bye. Hi, Finn, my honey. How you doing, homie? Hope you're having a lovely time. Oh, you're not sleeping anymore? Homie, isn't it Monday tomorrow? Don't you have to like dip? But yeah, so that's where we have the you know, well, what do you enjoy doing, Finn? There's a beautiful name, Finn. Absolutely. But yeah, so it has like a bit of a, what you call it? It has the border, and it has to come in this way. We can't exactly just take away the black and things like that. And also the black lining around it, half of the width of the, there's like branding guidelines as to why we fit it in the way that it does. You see, like the distance between this and this is not the same as this and this. But the reason why is because we're taking a look at things like weighting. Oh shoot, you can't exactly see that, can you? My mouse, you don't know what I'm pointing at. Whoops. Okay, let me just delete that real quick and see if I have like another view. There we go. And now I can do something a little bit like this. I make tracks. Yeah, please send one in. I would love to listen. I would love to listen, man. That's what I've been waiting for. I want to hear some tracks. I want to see what's going on, and we'll take a look at it together and have a good time. And Finn, welcome. What do you enjoy doing, man? If man, you know, are you a creative yourself? Are you? Yeah, I'm curious. All right, let's see. I make tracks. I did not know you make tracks. That is, I wasn't expecting people to like actually be making tracks and coming in here. That's pretty cool. I'm really happy to hear that. But yeah, it's the distance between this and this, half of that. This distance between this and this is not the same as this, because if this was actually centered perfectly, then it would feel too heavy on the right side. Your right side would tip down. So when you have that type of weighting, it's not, and you know, a good way to do that is actually just to flip this horizontally. Wait, what? How do we flip this? Okay, well, whatever. You can like mirror this image. You can flip it back and forth, and that is how you tell if something is evenly weighted or not. This is something that happens with a lot of different art forms, whether it's from visuals like logo design, or whether it's with things like welcome back Finn, whether it's to do with, you know, even audio. You know, when you're listening to something, put something on your master channel right at the end where it's like it flips the left and right ear. Does it still feel balanced? Does it still feel like it's, you know, weighted nicely? Well, it's a good way to check. But yeah, so that's kind of how it works, you know. I'm still waiting. Do you know how to send a track in, Buddhas? Or are you lost? I think, oh yeah, if you want to do that, by the way you do it is just go on tracktrain.com/hp/witchmagic. If you can do that, yeah, we can take a look. But considering this is like a shorts format, it's probably a good idea to find another way. Do you guys have ideas how a submission might work? How you want to do those? You know, you guys we're yet to the point where it's like we actually play something. So let's do something now, right? There's a man named Dragon. We're gonna take a look at whatever he's made over here. Alright. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly grab another pint and a beer, and similar. And we'll take a listen to this one over here. I won't be long at all. I'll be like 30 seconds. 30, not even that, 15 maybe. But yeah, all right. See, told you. Did I say? What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Hey Victor, hope you're doing well. How are you? Great to have you, man. But yeah, so we're gonna take a look at some tracks. Are you a creative yourself? Do you like making music or art or visuals or anything like that? You know, or do you do something else? Is it something that you enjoy doing that isn't, you know, necessarily in the creatives? Video games, baking things, whatever, you know? What do you enjoy doing? I'm here for the fire music. Let's go. You want to submit maybe one of your own as well? Ah, nice, man. That's freaking gorgeous. If you're gonna be like if you're making your own, then it's one of those things, man. If you're waiting for fire music, then yours is gonna come up too. You know what? Over here, we're a little bit of a productive environment, right? So we're definitely gonna be taking a look at your track, how it sounds, but on top of that, not only are we gonna jam out and have a good time, but also, you know, if you're happy to, I'm happy to give some feedback alongside of it. You know, I want to like play back your track and maybe even like get it routed onto my door and be like, all right, well, you can do this and that differently. You know, if you want to do a submission, it tells you right up there, just that URL up here. You know, just do a submission. Have you got an MP3 near you or something that's you know, something you can just toss in? Because I think that we can take a look at quite a few tracks together today. I think that'd be pretty cool. All right. In the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna play this one over here while you submit your track. Guys, feel encouraged to submit any tracks. You don't even have to submit your own. If you want to submit someone else's, or if you want to like just take a look at a song that you know, together and like have a little bit of a review of it, we can do that as well. I have no issue with that. I am a professional mixing and mastering engineer. I've been a musician since I was a little baby. You know, I've been, I mean, ever since I was not even a baby. I've been a musician since I was, I tell you what, when I was born, my mama needed a C major section. Yeah, you know, when the doctor slapped my ass, I cried in E flat minor because it was actually a really sad moment, you know. All right, let's take a look at this one. Yeah, MP3, just upload it. I would love to take a listen. Yeah, here we go. Ooh. Any genres are fine, by the way. Okay, arrangement could do a little bit, but maybe it's supposed to be like that. This is you. I feel like I've heard this before. That sidechain hits really hard. Try doing that only for like the lower frequencies, not the highs as well. Okay. It's like a grand opening of the thing. I love that. Is you. Yeah, keep an eye on what the sidechain's doing. So for the people that aren't musically inclined, sidechain is like how one signal affects another. I'll tell you in a bit. Saturate. Okay, this is the verse from before. I want. My focus is you. Okay, no kicks on this one. It's just a long build. Okay. Why the vocals so tinny? I swear that it's true. My focus is you. Love. It's not hard to choose. Love. It'll feel so new. Love. You're pulling me through. My focus is you. Oh, so it wasn't gonna go to a second drop. That's why it sounded like that. Thank you for the submission, Dragon. Absolutely loved it. Beautiful song. I'd say there's a few things that could be improved, particularly if you're taking a look at the sidechain. Now, let me tell you guys what sidechain is for the people who have just tuned in and already, you know, musically production oriented, but more like artists at heart, you know, for those. Sidechain is basically when it's like, you know, you have a kick drum, right? Which is like boo, 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 boo. So you're in a situation where it's like, okay, well, I want to make it so that, you know, every time the kick hits, I want it to sound like it's punchier than it actually is. So what I want it to do, every time it hits, I want every other element to dip down a little bit. So it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you've probably heard this in EDM tracks all the time, right? Now, I want you to, for people that aren't musically inclined, I want you, like, not musically inclined, that's just rude, sorry. People who aren't into the production crap, right? I want you to listen to like the synthesizers and stuff, but not listen to the kick, all right? Just listen to the synthesizers, right? So you see how it's going up so much? It's like, yeah. I'm trying to make this web page accept my track. Oh bloody hell! Is actually not having is having a bad time. Oh my. Oh, thank you for subscribing. I think that's what that notification means. I actually don't even know anymore. But yo, if you're having trouble uploading onto that onto the website, really? Okay, I tell you what. Try putting a really simple name down. Simple everything. Just put like Victor, nothing else. Maybe it might be the name thing or whatever. So Yeah. Anyway, so what I was telling this focus guy was, yo, there's too much side chain. Everything's going, just a little bit is enough. You know what I mean? Just a teeny bit of, not. So that makes it less exaggerated. That makes it smoother and flows nicer and everything, you know? So yeah. All right, let's take a look at another one. Oh, Victor, I got your track, homie. Oh, bless. I'm excited for this. Oh, track is no longer available. Did you remove it, Mr. Man? Yeah, try doing another submission if you can. Oh, you figured it out. Oh. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. You just figured it out and then it just stopped working, huh? It's okay. Try again. I'm here for a while. I'm gonna be here for a minute. So take your time. But yeah, so there's that. That's the whole side chain spiel, you know? What else? In regards to like the trebly tinniness of the vocals, the reason why you're having to do that is because you haven't got depth. Like you need to get some of those low mids up. You know what I mean by low mids? It's just like maybe 240 hertz, you know, something that's a little bit more, you know, if you get that fundamental, basically the fundamental frequency, the first bump you see on the EQ, turn that up for the vocal and you're going to get a little bit of depth that you're actually going to enjoy quite a bit. No lie, straight up, this is what it's going to be. So yeah, definitely do that. Let's see if your track got submitted again. Oh, there we go, riff. All right. Oh, bloody hell. Why is this not working, man? What are you... Wait, what format is this? It's an MP3, right? Surely it should work. If it's just an MP3. But if that's not working, do you just want to send me like a Google Drive link to the song? Send it over to this this address, nm@musicandaudio.studio. Yeah, send it over to that one over here. And Victor, I just want to give you some credit. Thank you so much for being patient. I'm really excited to hear your track. I'm glad that, you know, we didn't just give up on it. I want to know what it is. I'm looking forward to it, man. You're a very nice, lovely, kind individual. Yeah, so that is the submissions channel. So you can just submit it there. You guys want to see what Victor's made? Hey, yo! This is gonna be cool. This is gonna be cool. I have faith in you, bro. I have so much faith in you. This is gonna be a fire track. This is gonna be impeccable. Yeah, I can't imagine anything less. All right. Just hope I won't make a fool of myself on my lobby. Your lobby? What do you mean your lobby? Are you your lobby? Lobby as in like you have a group or something that you work with? Yeah, I tell you what. Even if it's not the best thing in the world, that's okay. Because coming here is one of the best decisions you've ever made in your life, homie. We're going to go over some really tight feedback. You're actually going to really like it. I really think you will. You know, from my hobby. Oh, come on. If it's a hobby, it really doesn't matter. It's going to be beautiful anyways. I know it will. Okay, so I'm just going to go next on this. Yeah. Okay. I believe I've done Dragon. So I'm just going to click next on that one. All right. Give me a sec. Hey, I tell you what. Is it cool if I go for a smoke real quick while you get your thing sorted out? Let me wait, why did I just wear this blazer earlier? This looks good. Normally I just wear this when I'm going outside or like, you know, in the living room and kitchen and stuff. Wear it for here too. But yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. Give me roughly a minute. No, like 5 minutes. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna try to get something up. How long have you been producing for? Oh yeah, I got it. I see the email, but I won't be long. I'll be like 5 minutes tops and we'll have some fun. Alright? See you shortly. In fact, I'll do a little bit of typing on here. Homie, it is raining like crazy outside. It's unreal. Alright, let's see. Okay. Let's see what she said. Many times, but the chance never got to me. Okay. Why is that? Let's see if this chat decides to allow me to see. Now life is about kids, house, car, job, dog. Love moved on, so the hobby stays a hobby. Oh, you got love in your life, homie. I'm so proud of you. That's the good shit, man. That is the good shit. I'm so happy to hear that. Man, music is what it is. But like, as you got everything you could ever want. God damn. This is what like this is what life's about, man. Yeah, is the missus still around? Okay, I'm gonna download your track real quick. I'm coming to streams like this to get inspired and share my love for music with like-minded people. Oh yeah, I think we're gonna be relatively like-minded. What I am gonna do, right? Yeah, she is? Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, you got a family, you got a dog. Man, what could you possibly want more? Alright, here is what I'm gonna do with your track, okay? I am going to oops, what did I do? Oh, I accidentally put it. Here we go. Now here's the thing, right? You have no idea why, because you're such a nice, humble dude. That's why. You seem really nice. Yeah, man, I'm proud of you. This is amazing shit. Now here's the thing. I'm gonna put your track into a session of Ableton, right? Let me just save this one because I think there's something here. Reese, other people, this freaking Brenda, so I'll just make one for her, and call it Anniversary Lyrics. Okay, let me just move this out of the way. All right, let me create a new live session. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag your track onto Ableton Live. We're gonna listen to it right there, and along the way, if there's any little EQ tweaks I gotta do, I'll do them right in front of you. You know, we'll make it nice, and let's see if we can bring this over here and actually do it like that. There we go. All right, so here is your track, VD. It's called Riff. Your energy is off the charts. Ah, thank you, man. I am just hyped. I'm not gonna lie, Heike, you had an impact, and you know, on the energy, you know. So I appreciate it. There's a little bit of side. By the way, doing things in a DAW in a vertical view is really freaking tricky. I'm just saying, like, making it on a vertical format is really hard. So we're gonna see what the hell happens. Okay, and by listening to this, I should probably also figure out which DAW you use. You can generally tell, right? Like, by just hearing what type of music someone is making. Let's see, where are you from, by the way? Probably not the UK. I mean, if you have like a dog, kids, wife, house, lovely job, it's probably going to be not in the UK. Let's see. EQ, Pro Q. Let's put that here. Denmark. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Let's take a look. I've got, let's put the EQ here. Control Alt B so that we don't see. Here we go. Here's your track. I'm just going to zoom in and then Alt Shift F so that it follows it. And then now we're going to press play. Okay, here we go. I'm so hyped. Okay, I'm gonna need to Control Alt B, get a utility just in case it's too loud. Speak a little bit, you know. Here we go. mix is good. We'll see what happens with the drop. Oh. I'd say the snare drum could be a little louder. You know, do some parallel processing. You can increase some of those air. It's a region we tend to forget. A little bit of that air. Oh, that was amazing. That was really cool. I love the way you switched all these different genres and styles together. You had like some sort of what is it? Like a little bit of blues in there, followed by like some, you know, like, you know, that cyberpunky stuff, you know. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. This is not even the newest one. This is the first version. Yeah, get that snare to come through a little bit harder. Let's go to that part. Which was it? If you reduce like around 740 hertz for like, you know, yeah, please send the newest version. Take your time. But if you dip around like over here for some regions, it would make other things a bit louder in this region. You know, like mixing is sort of a reductive, subtractive process, isn't it? So you have like a... Because if you do this, it feels a little harsh. But now it feels a little bit more humbled in. And doing this around 780 for you would create a contrast between that low end and that high. The sub could do with a boost quite a bit. Increase like some of the second harmonic. Increase the second harmonic on the bass. I think you'd have a good time with that too. You know, get some of that rumble in there, you know? Like, I think you can do that as well. Just for the bass though, not for the other stuff. But like a 1.3 dB boost, no more than that. The low end is quite weak. I tell you what, your low end is perfect. This needs to come in the front a little bit. That's it. But your mix otherwise, like within your track, is gorgeous. It's luscious. Oh my god. It's not weak. I think you did a great job. Just needs to be a bit louder. Unless my slang, I'm not understanding the slang. Okay, one sec. My hair is getting in the way. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, this part, I'd say 780, you need to have that dipped. You see how it sounds a little bit different now? It sounds a little bit more brutal. Before and after. Because we want that grit, don't we? That's what we want. All right, you sent another one in. Riff unmastered, and then you've sent this one, riff. All right, let's take a look at this one. Oh my. Wait, is this the same one I downloaded from last time? Oh wait. This is the one you just sent now. All right. Wait, is this 15 minutes ago? This is 0 minutes ago. All right, so this should be the one. You sent two, right, just now? It looks the same. But let's see. It's called Unmastered, right? Is that the one I'm looking for? Ah, okay. My bad. Here we go. Here is the unmastered version. And generally, those tend to have a lot more energy because there hasn't been an overly done amount of, compression to ruin everything. So let's take a look. These things are currently disabled, so don't worry. I'll just turn them off like this so that it is more apparent. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, same thing. Around 740, 780 needs a dip. Same thing. This is gorgeous. Yeah, just needs this area dip, 740-ish. Otherwise, it's gorgeous. Hold on, there's something going on here. All right. Let's fix that as well. Let's figure out what's going on over there. So I'm gonna close these and get another Pro Q. Right. So we still have the previous changes that are currently there. Wow. That stuff. Do a little bit of a dip with the mids EQ. I mean, 20 years, you know what a mid EQ is. Just use one of these things and, homie, just for that element, around 4 kilohertz, you dip like this region. Lovely. Because you've got nice width and stuff, but I feel like you may have, done it based on what the width is supposed to sound like, right? So, which is great. You did it perfectly on the sides. Just gotta dip the mids around 4.5. Yeah. Look at that. You see? You see? Nice. You want that back for the rest of it. You only want to do the mids dip on that one. Your subs are fine because we did this EQ earlier. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. This is amazing. Ah! Oh my god, this is so cool. I love it when people switch up styles and genres like this, man. Like when they add things like, especially that little bluesy melody you did, or like western melody, I mean. Where was it? No. Yeah, that type of melody, dude, it's perfect, especially with the fact that you're not doing it with a guitar. That's a melody that's supposed to be on guitar, not on this instrument. But you did it on this instrument because you have participated in the conventions of Western, right, for that element, with that like down, with that kind of stuff. But then you also participated in the conventions of like some like digital era, like not digital as in like, hey, 1985, but like, like the okay, maybe a little bit of that, actually maybe a little bit of 85, but like mostly to do with like the cyberpunky conventions that you're doing, right? Amazing. No, my pleasure. Thank you for sending this in. I've had a great time listening to this. This is actually really good. Holy crap. I was expecting a lot of the people to be like, who send tracks to be like amateurs or new. And I was expecting more of like, you know, the type of feedback that would be a little bit more simple. But this is like, exquisite. Good job. Please send another one. Please feel encouraged to send another one while I, you know, look at this a little bit more. Let's see. Okay. I love that you kept the fundamental of that bluesy thing. That fundamental. You know this thing? Yeah, no, go for it, please. Yeah. Fully completed track is what I'm mostly looking forward to listening to, you know? Because fully completed tracks... Oh yeah, I know what your scope is. It means that you've reached your scope. If you send an MP3, it'd be easier. Because if you send an MP3, I can open it up, you know? If you send it as a, you know, like a link or something, then I would have to like track it down and like all that stuff. So yeah, please just quickly send an MP3. Take your time, obviously. I just meant quickly as in, you know, I hope it doesn't feel too much of an inconvenience to you. Man. I'm having a lot of fun, dude. Thank you so much for joining today's stream. Normally I do these streams not on shorts. I tend to do them a little bit more on like a bigger format. I tried shorts today just because, you know, I might want to do them again next time though. And I do hope that like I can, you know, find a little bit more of an interesting way to do these short live streams, you know, because there's so much capacity, right? Now, the other format that I do, like when I stream, people actually get notified for them, which is nice. But with shorts, I think that like there might be a lot of learning points because I feel like there's a lot of questions that I have in mind, and if it turns out to be one of those situations where like, oh, I have this thing I want to discuss or that thing I want to discuss, I think this is like the most engaging way to do it, or even just go on talking about some hot points. Yeah, I think the shorts would be a good way to actually have talks about things as opposed to, you know, yeah. So I want to do these ones more often, and I want to have talking points which aren't necessarily even to do with like music creation, but to do with just things that we enjoy listening to. Because the thing is, when we get to really deep into music, we go really deep into production. When we go really deep into production, we get into really deep into audio engineering. When we get too deep into audio engineering, we get into some more interesting things like psychoacoustical phenomena, like you know, our interaural intensity differences and interaural time differences, and how we psychoacoustically are able to you know, localize the direction of a sound, you know, like, you know, because we're then at that point we're taking a look at, you know, some really interesting concepts, right? We're looking at Hans Volok, who in 1909, you know, brought up this thing called the precedence effect, you know, which is about, you know, sounds being close to each other enough to the point where it sounds like one source. You know what I mean? And I find that really interesting. Then there's, you know, some other theorists as well, from Paul Haggardy to, you know, then you go into like all of this stuff. You talk about interaural phase difference too, which is a whole other topic. Not even, it's something completely different from interaural time differences. So yeah, because we're looking into something a little bit more to do with the digital realm, you know, and that's a bit interesting. The way we get width, the perception, how azimuth actually works, because a lot of people think that azimuth is basically just panning. No, you look at wave stereo imager, it's supposed to, like, you know, make it feel or look as if it's like an azimuth. Let me open up the wave stereo imager. plugins, S1 Imager. This is the waves one, right? Now, when we take a look at something like this, it's a bit like, okay, well, the way it's supposed to work is you're supposed to be able to decide your source and where it's coming from. Oh, is it coming from the right? Is it coming from the left? You know, one of these things. How big is the sound source, or what the asymmetry is? There's a good visualization. So with this, you're supposed to be able to decide the quote-unquote azimuth, but it really isn't, because azimuth counts on so many different things. You're taking a look at things like, you know, for example, right? When you have azimuth, let me see if I can get Paint open for this. All right. Let me get this. Here we go. Here's Microsoft Paint, right? Now, can I do this? Now, azimuth is your directional hearing, right? So let's put I'm gonna assume this is the center. Probably, yeah. And then this is the center. Great. So when it comes to azimuth, we're taking a look at 0 degrees in front of you. And then we're taking a look at 90 degrees. We're taking a look at 180. And we're taking at 270, right? Now here's the thing. You can do something as, you know, cool and simple and fun as panning, right? Where you just like pan something using the pan knobs that you typically get in like DAWs, you know, things that are a little bit more like, man, can I bring this up? Okay, on this little corner, like panning it left, panning it right, that's one thing. But we get into more interesting territories when we take a look at azimuth, because we're talking about direction. If something is right in front of you, it's 0 degrees, right? This is you. This is you over here. And, you know, you're looking this way. Now, when we're in that situation, you can do your panning, but if you have like an EQ curve, let's see, right? So we will put orange as a sound source. If the sound source is over here, then yeah, fair enough. You can do all that. But in reality, if your sound source is over here, I'm going to choose a different color for that. Over here, then what you want to do is do something a little bit like this. What is this? This is your presence region. You know, this is the around 6.7 kilohertz, roughly, depending on the instrument, between it's like 6 kilohertz or like 7 kilohertz, sometimes 7.8, sometimes, you know, 4.5 kilohertz. You just got to find that where that's resonant, where that thing is. Now, here's another thing. If you have a source, which is like, let's do blue for this one, right? So let's say you have a source which is coming from over here. Sure, you have something that's a little bit more like this, right? If a source is coming from over here, you get something which is a little bit more like this. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, I can't do the drawing correctly, but you can kind of see, right? So your 180 is determined through that. Now you can get a little bit of panning as well, where it's like, imagine this on a left to right. You never thought of it like that, huh? Well, you're gonna have a great time now then. So let's think of it like this, right? If you have, I'm gonna draw another square, another EQ, right? Because this one's getting a little convoluted. Oops. Let's do this. Okay, let's do green. Let's pick a direction. The sound is coming from, I don't know, like here, right? Here, let's say. Then what you end up doing is you have your left channel, which is going to be a little bit like this, right? And a slight dip over here. Maybe not even a dip, maybe just like something like that. But when your right channel, you have a little bit of a boost over here. You see that? You've only boosted that for your right channel. Now you can do this in things like Pro Q or any type of EQs that you wish to use. Because take a look, right? Even if you're using FL, no, maybe not with FL because that EQ doesn't really do its job, right? So you have a right. You can choose the right side and you can do something a little bit like this. And you can dip a little bit of that like so. And then do the opposite on your left side. And you will get a little bit of more of a realistic stereo image, right? You see? That's going to make you feel a little bit more right panned without even panning. Now, you know what? Let's make it simpler. Don't look at this area, just look at this, right? That should make it a little bit easier to understand. For now, we'll go into the lower area in a little bit. So, why is that the case? Because, well, if this sound source is coming at you right over here, what it needs to do is you have your head, right? Let's say what, sorry, that's a horrible head. Okay, so you have your head like this, right? Beautiful. And then the sound source, let's say green, Mr. Green is over here. He's coming in. He's going to go right into your center. But with that being said, it's going to go everywhere. Right? Here's another thing though. The sound is going to go through your head as well. And as it goes through your head and reaches your left ear, your hearing is going to be a little bit like, on the left ear, a little bit muffled. What's going to be muffled? The presence region. You see? This stuff is, your skull is going to filter out your low frequencies, so your high frequencies, I mean, you know, and that is what exactly your presence region that's up here. Educational, right? A little bit. So there's that. Now it's also interesting that when you have a source coming from behind you, let's say Mr. Blue over here coming from this direction, what do you think is going to happen? You have the sound source going through, but it's coming from behind, you know? So when it's coming from behind, there's still a little bit of extra filtering, because remember how your ear canals are pointing. I think I might even have a drawing of this. I did this because, hold on. I think I might have a drawing for this. Because I remember like one of my clients, well, 10 of my clients, basically it's an a cappella group. And I believe one of them had osteosclerosis. So I had to like try to ask everybody how they, you know, like if they have any health conditions. And because of the fact that one of my clients had a health condition in regards to their ear, I had to learn, you know, this thing. This was done a while back, but I have this book, you know. I have a bunch of crap in here. I have some, you know, random drawings that I've done from like years ago, or I don't even know when I did them. But yeah, so you have your tympanic membrane, which is going to be pointing a lot more, which is going to be fine, but then the canal that you have is pointing forwards. If you put your finger in your ear, you'll notice that there's like a little bit of a passage where it's like blocking frequencies from the right hand side. I know this is gross, but if you put your finger in your ear, you can't put it in so much, you know, from the back. There's a wall in the way. So you have this coming through instead. And that goes in a lot easier. So that is why we need to look at sound localization mechanisms when we are making music, because we need to know where that sound source is coming from, right? So when we do have sounds coming from the back, it's one of those situations where the sound's going to be a little bit filtered, right? Because the axis of entry is actually like through this cone. So there's going to be filtration, but there's going to be even more filtration from this end. You know what I mean? Because this sound is going to go everywhere. This sound's going to go everywhere. It's going to go like here. It's going to go here. It's going to go even just like filter through. It's going to go even reflect and then bounce back from the walls or whatever. You know, you have a lot of different things. But let's say we're not looking at walls right now. So that's what we do. We do a little of this left and right EQing in order to get a little bit more of a comprehensive depth and real-time localizing. Now, we're talking about panning over here, right? Which is one thing. But that's for your high frequencies. Bro, that's just for your high frequencies. That's up here. So, what is the thing with the low frequencies? This is where it's a bit more difficult to implement in production, right? Because your low frequencies, they don't look at intensity difference as much. So if you have like the EQ curve thing, if you have a sound coming from the right hand side, what's going to happen is this will be flat, right? And when it reaches your left ear, which is going to be your left, which is going to be this blue line, it's not going to be like this. Okay, I'm going to confuse you first before I give you an answer, right? It's going to be a little bit more like this. Oops. A bit more like that. Actually, it's a little bit more of a curve around 1 kilohertz. Now, this is not a decibel meter. This is not like 6 dB over here, minus 6 dB. Homie. This is 660. 660. No, hold on. Minus 330. Actually, plus 330 and minus 330. Guess what the measurement is? It's gonna be microseconds. Microseconds, my friend. What that means is, when it comes to your low frequencies, you're actually deciphering audio through a delay, because on an average human head, the amount of time it takes for the sound to travel between your right ear and your left ear is 660 microseconds. If it is coming from an absolute, absolutely a 90-degree azimuth or a 270-degree azimuth. So that is one of those situations where it's like, oh, you haven't sent your track yet, by the way. I don't think I've received it. So yeah, feel encouraged. So that's what's happening. You delay the lower signals. Do you know why? Because if we take a look at it like this, right? What is a high frequency? High frequency is like... Okay, I can't draw a straight line because I'm using my mouse. Whereas a low frequency is like... it's a bit like this. Low frequencies, it's easier for our, auditory mechanism to decipher the time difference. The difference between this and this is much easier for our brains to decipher than this. So when it comes to the difference between the high frequencies and low frequencies, with the high ones, the only way that we're able to tell that, like, okay, the sound's coming from the right or the left is because it's been filtered through your head, because high frequencies have trouble getting through your head, filtered. Whereas if you're taking a look at something like low frequencies, they travel through surfaces like that. You hear a thunder or lightning from a distance, guess what? It's going to, what do you call it? You're not going to hear the slapping of the thunder, the slap bass of the thunder. You're going to hear the rumbles, right? From a distance, or like going through your walls or whatever. So yeah, that's why, according to evolution, no offense if anyone's, doesn't believe in that, but that's what it is for now, right? In this context. Different topic another time, but when it comes to evolution, if we're using that to explain things, this is why we our mechanisms have been developed in this fashion. This is how sound travels through surfaces, and even through distance. So this is why. And with longer wave tables or wave cycles, we can tell, right? Like, hey, it came a bit late on my left ear compared to my right ear. Now let me freak you out. I want to freak you out. Okay, how do I freak you out? Let me think. Okay. Let me Okay, got it. All right. I'm going to blow your mind here, right? I'm going to start dropping some really spicy shit in a way which is spicy. Okay. I just came up with this now, so forgive me. So, it's interesting that the filtering happens in your brain in the first place, right? Now, when we have this type of filtration happening, how like everybody has a different head shape? Everyone has their own different head shapes, their own different biologies. Your skin, the way that reflects, the bone structure, the muscles, the nasal cavities, all of these different holes and gaps in your head are so different that if you was in reality of the X, Y, and Z axis of time, space, and everything, you were exactly right, the center of your head, XYZ center, right? That dot was inside of my XYZ center, and we heard a clap coming from the top right or the front left or whatever. We would hear that sound completely different. The reason why is because of these different cavities or whatever we have. Now, let me say that again, but in a different way. The reason for that is because of the profiles that we're set with. You have a profile in your freaking brain, right? That is not in your brain, but in your head, and the way the auditory system works. And that profile is different to mine. And that profile, what you call it, is the head-related transfer function, which was something that was come up by a man named I'm so sorry. One sec. What was it? Let me look that up real quick. Head. What? Head related transfer function. Who came up with that? And it wasn't even when. Who? It was about when. Because it's, taking account to your sound localization mechanisms and things like that. What's crazy is on the Wikipedia article, it doesn't tell you exactly who. It goes over the Nyquist criteria, which we'll go over another time because that's also spicy, but it's a little complicated for now. You have the Audio Engineering Society talking about it, and that's a shame. Yeah, we'll go over this at some point. But that's not the mind-blowing bit. That is like an introduction. Like, that's like one step in. It's like, the same as those people who are like, hey guys, welcome to this video on, whatever. Today we're going to be, setting up this thing, and please ensure you like and subscribe, and, please make sure to feed your cat, and hey, also here's a word from our sponsor, whatever. That's what I said is just that little portion of the video, right? Now, here's the mind-blowing bit. How we hear width is different every single time, right? Sometimes the reason why we hear things to be wide and loud in our day-to-day life is because of the fact that sometimes the sound source is so freaking huge. It is a massive sound source, and that can be really mind-blowing. It's like, let's say you have a massive elephant coming from the top, like front right of you. That's gonna sound like a massive. Please don't clip that. But that sound is going to be really large because it's coming from a loud sound source, right? So when it's coming from a loud sound source, you're going to hear that in a width. So you're going to hear that as a wider source. Why? Because let's go down over here and let's go over this thing, right? So you have a person over here. This is not the mind-blowing bit either. So you're standing over here. This is your azimuth, right? This is 0 degrees in front of you, 90 degrees, and then 270. We're not even looking at 180 right now, right? Because that's whatever. Now, an elephant roars. Like, let's say before an elephant, you have a little bit of a cricket, like cheep, 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 cheep. That sound is going to go directly here really quickly. Maybe reflect a little bit, whatever. But it doesn't feel so wide. But you have a freaking elephant. Right? That's going to go over here. It's going to come out over here. It's going to go everywhere. Right? But the thing is that if we zoom in on your teensy weensy little head, right? The sound that came here came before the sound that came over here. Right? But it's the same loudness, same intensity, everything. So what ended up happening is what some producers called the Haas effect, where your left channel, your left ear and your right ear got a signal, like your right ear first, right? So you're right, and then that same signal was actually delayed naturally in your left ear. Now I'm going to set a precedence in this entire conversation, right? The thing that makes things sound wide, what is wideness, right? Wideness. Oh my god, I need my drawing tablet. But wideness is basically on an interpretive level, wideness is basically just like, yo, how big a sound feels, right? How big it feels, how grand it feels. But wideness in production or audio or psychoacoustics is the difference between your left and right channel, right? So if there's a sound that's remotely different in your right ear compared to your left ear, it's going to feel wide, it's going to feel different, it's going to feel bigger, even if it's a little bit. Whether you do that through saturating the left ear channel, like increasing the loudness, or whether that's like, you know, increasing the loudness, or whether that's delaying the signal a little bit to the right, or whether that's through you know, adding a bit of grunge to the right, whether that's increasing the pitch of the one to the right a little bit, but then reducing it on the left, unison, like the synthesizers that you've been using for a while on Serum and stuff, you EDM guy, you know. So, you know, whenever you do these little differences, that's how you get a bit of width. So, you know, if you're doing something like Serum, right, the reason why it's feeling so whatever is because some of those waveforms are slightly different. Your left waveform is slightly different to your right. This is a lower pitch, this is a higher pitch, right? That's what unison does. You remember that freaking thing when you open up something like Serum or any type of synthesizer? I have an old version of Serum. I think I haven't updated it yet. But if I go over here, and also naturally created reverb and sound getting reflected around, like sound waves getting distorted because they hit something like a tunnel. Exactly. Yeah. So now you see we can turn up this thing over here. We can turn up the unison to 2, and we can be like, all right, you can hear what this is going to sound like, right, in your head. You know, you can hear that kind of thing where like one is getting higher in pitch and one's getting lower in pitch. Let me demonstrate real quick. Okay, let me turn this music off real quick so that we can actually get like a little bit of an easier reference. So this signal will now sound mono, right? Like really in the middle. Oops. This sounds mono. Sorry, I'm using my keyboard. All right. So anyways, we have this. Now it's wider. It's going to feel wider. You see how it's getting wider? And the reason why is because one's getting a little bit... Sorry, I have ADHD. I get like a little bit sidetracked. That's so, yeah. So we have... Because the reason why it's sounding so different, like so wide, is because the left and right signal are really different, right? But then we can also do the same thing, where it's like, oh yeah, the left signal is the right signal. So we have the serum patch. Great. Now let's put a delay on there, right? So let's get a delay, right? And what we're gonna do over here is just delay the left versus right signal. So this sounds mono, but oh wait, hold on. Sorry. Here we go. You see, by delaying the signal, we've also made it feel wider. You know how the difference between what you hear in your left ear versus your right ear. First, we tried it with pitch. Left ear going pitch down, right ear going pitch up. We heard it getting wider. Then we heard it with this thing with the delay, where it's like the left signal, you know, coming in at some time, and the other one, the right signal, coming a little bit later. And the later and later we made it, the more wider it started to feel, right? So we can tell that the difference between your left and right channel is what makes the difference, right? So we went over 2 different points. We went over what's it called, stereo delay, which is something that you've probably even done, like to make sounds wider, right? But then we also went into unison, right, which is another way. Then we can have another way of widening sounds, which is reverb, right? Like you said, we're going to go over exactly what you said. So no longer a line in each ear, which they won't if they get bounced around your surroundings before they hit your ear. You know what? I agree with you so hard that we're going to do this with an algorithmic, not even a convolution, algorithmic, right? So what we're going to do for that is we have this reverb, right? It's sounding relatively mono. Not really, it's a little bit wide. We're having some differences. But check this out. We don't want to do this type of width because sometimes you don't want reverb, right? You don't want those decay times in our music, but we still want the width. So let's go over exactly what you're saying. Bouncing around in your ears. Let's reduce the room size, right? Let me turn off this thing so you can see better. There we go. So now let's turn down the decay time. You see how it sounds wide? There we go. Even reflections do a good job of it, even on an algorithmic level, you know? So, yeah, it's literally what you said. And that's great. So, good job on that. Yeah, that's a really good, eloquent way to put it. The deflections and everything. All right. Anyways, yes, further back into the room, more like background. That's exactly it, man. So yeah, and you can even increase it. You can even reduce the dry wet. Victor, this is a little bit out of topic. I haven't really done the blowing your mind thing yet, but when you do reverbs and things like that, make sure they're always 100% wet and not on the actual sound source that you're putting them on. Make sure it's always parallel. Route your reverb into another channel. So route your signal into another channel, put reverb in that channel and put that out to 100% wet. Don't do it like on that track. You don't do them things. If you feel like, the signal can sound a bit more wet, then reduce the dry signal and increase the wet one. But you got to keep them in separate tracks. Yeah, make sure you do that. All right. What's the other thing? So what was it? That was one. Okay. Because it's getting a little bit late. This has been a 4-hour stream. I think next week I got to find some, conversational topics, some more interesting, fun things which kind of resonate with people. Thank you for sticking around with this one. I know this is a little bit of a spooky topic, right? So, anyways, this is the mind-blowing bit. Have you ever flipped the polarity? So you have like, let's say this serum thing, right? Let's say we have mono signal, right? But then what we do is we flip the polarity of one signal. Now that sounds wide. Do you see how uncomfortable that sounds if you're wearing headphones? Some people do this to increase width, but it's so jarring, dude. Now hear this without it. It's not pleasant, but it also, you cannot make anything wider than this, can you? There's no way to make anything wider than that. There's no way, no possible way. Even if I go, you can't make anything wider than this ever in your life, and it's physically impossible. And it's going to be really unpleasant. Do you know why it's really unpleasant though? This is going to be the mind-blowing thing, dude. This is what I'm excited to fucking talk about. Okay. The reason why it's so unpleasant. No. Before I dip, I'm going to listen to your track. Both of the stuff that you sent. The reason why I was just thinking that like the best way to end it would be listening to your track, because that would actually bring a lot of positivity and good flows and shit. Yeah. So we are 100% going to have to listen to that. I really do want to listen to it. And besides, I actually have the email here. I've actually just kept this open on the other side. So here's the mind-blowing thing, bro. This is why this sounds so jarring. And this is the most mind-blowing thing that I know in audio, right? Psychoacoustically speaking. People think it's just a freaking polarity knob. I'm gonna make this so much cooler. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my fucking god. Alright, so this is your azimuth thing, right? Where it's like, okay, you have your left and right and everything like that. Dude, you're not ready for this. You're not ready for this. Okay. So, remember how I said earlier on, let's go all the way back, right? We said it's the difference between your left and right channels, how high frequencies and low frequencies are decoded by the brain, and how how the delay of the low where, for low frequencies, you're using your interaural time difference for your low frequencies, but then you're using your interaural intensity difference for your high frequencies. High frequencies meaning roughly 1 kilohertz and up, right? So the reason why it's the most jarring and mind-blowing thing, psychoacoustically speaking, and no one's ever gonna go over how mind-blowing this actually is. This is my theory on it, but it's using other theories, and I believe this is what it actually is. This is the craziest thing ever. So do you remember how I said that the difference between your left and right ear, right, is what makes things sound like as if they're wider and bigger. But more importantly, it's what makes your brain be like, oh, I know where a sound is coming from, right? We know that if a sound is coming from the front left of you, right, somewhere over here, what's going to happen, or even if, let's say from the right hand side, right, your sound is coming, those high frequencies are going to be filtered on your left ear, right? So that's why your left ear is not going to get it as clear. It's going to be muffled when it gets to your left ear. We know this already. This is not a thing that we care about anymore. Now let's take a look at low frequencies. Low frequencies, low LF, right? If that's coming to your right ear, right? So if I draw your head, when the low frequency is coming through, right? Oops. Like that, it's going to reach your ear in this specific cycle. It's going to keep going, and then it's going to be on the lower end of the cycle, right? Fair enough. And that little difference, so if we take a look, this is the +1, let's say, and this is like minus 0.6. So what's happening is your left ear is actually getting a +1 signal going in, and your right ear is actually getting a -6, so like something like that. And that difference between your left and right ear is what's making that sound like it's wide. Fair enough. But homie, this is it. Last statement. What does it mean to your brain if this signal is 100% coming from +1 and your right signal is 100% coming from -1? Actually, let's make this more accurate. +1. Let me move this to a different thing. That sample is freaking me out. There we go. Control C, Control V. And I'm gonna invert this. What if it is exactly the same? And it is exactly the same, not just for like this one initial transient hit, but it's the exact same for the entire duration of the sample or the sound or whatever. What if, right, your right ear is doing the exact opposite of what your left ear is doing, right? This is a bad drawing, but you know what I mean. If it's exactly the opposite, flipping the polarity between your left and right channel, and for one of your channels, does this. You know that this sound is coming in a little bit earlier because of the consequent things after that. What this means is that your sound source, where do you think is coming from if you have this exactly polarized? Let me ask you this. Actually, yeah, go on. Where do you think the sound is coming from, localization wise? Is it coming from your left ear or your right ear? If you're taking a look at this thing over here, right? Where do you think? So you have it left in black, right in red. Where is that coming from? There's only one sound source. If you close your eyes, imagine where, from the right or the left. Alright, I'll tell you. Homie, the answer is, it's not a red color or a blue color or a black color. I mean black. Purple, dude. Your brain is hearing it as if this sound source is coming from the one sound source, by the way, not one sound source over there and one sound source over there. We're not saying that. We're saying one sound source coming from the extreme far right and extreme far left at the same time. One sound source. So let's say you have your uncle or auntie, right? Your uncle is standing to the far right of you and he's speaking. You can hear that going to your right ear, but you only have one uncle, right? That uncle only exists once, okay? That is it. But that uncle is also at the same time on the left side of your ear, exactly to the 90 degrees to the left, right? Negative 90, 270 degrees, whatever, fine. Exactly at the left, exactly at the right, at the same time as one unit. Not two, not clones, no clones. Your brain doesn't think of it as, oh, you have an uncle on the right and you have an uncle on the left. No, no, no. It's a one uncle in this dimension breaking reality that we are perceiving, where that sound is actually a one sound source breaking the realities of what a stereo signal is in our heads. That you can hear right now. In about 2-3 minutes, once I finish explaining this, I will play that sound to you guys, right? We're not talking about, again, we're not talking about a ball coming from the right and the left at the same time. No, one ball, only one ball. But the reality and the x-axis of space is broken in our heads. It's ripped, and we will hear it as if it is both left and right at the same time, even though it's only one sound. One sound. They're the exact same sound. It is the same sound because there is only one sound. This is called psychoacoustics, my friends. This is what we talk about when we want to... Yeah. This is end game. Now anyone can flip a freaking polarity switch in a console or a DAW, whatever. Who the fuck, whatever. Because it just sounds weird, but this is why it sounds weird. Now I'm gonna play that sound to you guys right now, right? Okay. So we have a synthesizer, right? Which sounds like this. By the way, you need headphones for this, right? So if you don't have headphones, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to plug them in. So, and if you're late to the stream, just let me know that you need time to plug it in or whatever. This is the sound, right? Fine. But now we're gonna flip that polarity switch. Now you're getting the waveform not being like this within your left and right channel. So this is the left channel, this is the right channel. It's not going exactly like this. It's going exact opposites, which is something you will never hear in real life. 3, 2, 1. Did that sound come from the left or the right? I'll play it again. Left or right? It feels like it's such a big, wide sound source. You see? It's pretty fucky, isn't it? It's pretty mind-twisting. Now, I know this is just a synthesizer, so what we're going to do to make this a little bit easier to understand, we're going to flip on over to an actual sound, right? A sample or something, so we can hear what it's like. Oh, it's a very unpleasant sound. Very unpleasant. But I'll tell you where we can use it. But the reason why it's unpleasant is because of the way we use it, right? But I'll tell you areas where we can use this in a beautiful way. Why should you not, right? So, my God, this is so mind-blowing. Thank you for being here. I really enjoy talking about this. This is something that I'm really having a good time with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play your track. Actually, not your track because it's a produced track. In fact, let's do your track, but we'll make it mono first, right? Oh God, some beer just went down my shirt. Literally down my shirt and not on my shirt. Okay. There we go. Perfect. All right. So this is your song in mono. Hold on, let's turn this off and mono, right? Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna flip the polarity of one switch. Now let's do a record. Let's do something where it's my voice, right? So I'm gonna record this so that we can kind of hear what it's gonna be like. Hi there, how are you? Today we're gonna be taking a look right over here at a couple of different ideas. And we're going to be hitting the polarity switch in 3, 2, 1. How does this sound? Do I sound like things have been flipped? Does it feel like maybe, you know, I'm coming from both the left and the right? Where am I coming from? Left or right? Please tell me. All right. So I have a recording over here. I'm going to turn this crystal thing off. So no more reverb. We'll have this. Hi there. How are you? Today we're going to be taking a look right over here at a couple of different ideas. And we're going to be hitting the polarity switch in 3, 2, 1. Can't tell, right? It's mind-blowing. It's both left and right. Now here's the thing. I just got to use the restroom real quick, but before I go, I'm going to show you one more little thing. Remember how I told you about like the time difference or phase difference and all that stuff is in the lower frequencies? How wide does it sound when I cut those lows out? Sorry, yeah, cut those lows out. Doesn't sound as unpleasant anymore, does it? Ouch. Doesn't sound as painful anymore, does it? So it's interesting that it is much more jarring in the lower frequencies. This is where it feels the widest, doesn't it? Because it's flipping of polarity. You're using your second mechanism. Your first mechanism, not your second one. You're using your interaural time difference to distinguish, to like isolate the localization of sound. You're using just the time difference. It's just that you've hacked your time difference mechanism, you know? Interaural time difference mechanism. Interaural meaning between your two ears, your oral, you know, whatever. So this feels much wider than something like this. Right over here, a couple of different ideas. You see, I got wider as we let this filter go through. That's the mechanism you're using. This is the mechanism you have in you. So this is how the human hearing works. Let's see. How much experience do you have teaching this stuff? You have a talent here. You're very kind to me, Mr. Victor. You're very kind. In terms of teaching, I mean, I'm not that big of a, you know, like, I don't know. I just like talking, you know, and if I enjoy something and I know it, I like to, you know, have fun with it. And the fact that you're picking up on it just means that, you know, we're having a good time together, just, you know, going over things that we already enjoy, you know. I think that's what it might be. I wouldn't give myself too much credit on that, you know. But yeah, you're very kind. I think that is just your ability to interpret and have an interest in the topic. I think that's what it is. So yeah, respect, by the way. And let's see, what else? When do we want to use that mechanism? I think that's the interesting thing, right? Okay, I already know, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. I'm trying to find a way to give you a hint without giving it away, because I will tell you shortly. But I just need to use the restroom. Okay, so the way you want to think about these concepts, right? If you have this signal over here, let's say your song, right? And I decide that, okay, we flipped the polarity of the left switch and then we made it mono. So we have a mono signal coming through, right? Over here is mono. Then we flipped the polarity of one of the mono channels and we made it mono again. Do you see how it's silent? So I want you to think about it like this. When you have a mono signal and you flip the polarity, then it gets wider. But when you make it go through a mono system again, it'll be zeroed out to nothing. It'll be zeroed out. And another thing I'm going to tell you, right? That's the first clue. The second clue is that a lot of venue speakers play in mono. Okay, if that is too weird and too difficult to get, I'm just going to write it over here. Let's see. You've heard? I don't think so. I came up with this myself. Okay, monoing this, and if you have heard it, those are my students, probably. Monoing this, yeah, destructive interference. Yeah, I didn't come up with that. That's something else. I'm talking about a strategy. But yeah, no, yeah, it's destructive interference. It's a really common thing. It's a lovely thing. It's an interesting thing. Monoing this causes destructive interference. I'll use your word. Destructive interference is when you have the, like, you know, for anyone else who's new here, is when you have like two signals which are basically the exact opposite of each other. So if you have like a sine wave and you have another sine wave below it, but it's like the exact opposite, it completely cancels itself out. But there are also times where it's not exactly the same, but slightly the same. All the stuff that's cancelled out is called destructive interference, right? But this makes it null. Silent. Oh, by the way, some venues speakers don't use stereo fills and only play in mono. What is a venue? Venue is a space. Space! And on top of that, isn't reverb a space emulator? Alright, that should be enough clues, dude. If you don't get it from this, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a little bit of a weird thing. Cars nowadays, electric ones, when they're reversing, they make like a freaking like New York subway sounds. It's unreal. Doo, doo. Like, dude, just come up with your own thing. Alright, I'll be right back. Come on, you got clues.
I just realized that not everything is visible, so I'm just gonna put this over here. There we go. Here we go. Yeah, dude, come up with. I want you to use your creativity and come up with what you think it might be. What is it? How can you use this weird width in a cool way without it being, so annoying or whatever? And what is the purpose of it? I want you to come up with it. All right, I'll be like 5 minutes. I'm watching your chat though. All right.
Yeah, oh my god, I read that. You friggin' genius. You friggin' genius. You got it. This is what 20 years of a producer looks like, folks. This is it. This is the guy. You want 20 years of experience? Is this guy right here. God damn. Oh my. Abso-freaking-lutely. Basically, anything that is gonna give you a little bit of like width and things like that, which you might want on your headphones, like reverbs and things like that. You can mono that reverb and then flip the polarity so that it sounds wide on headphones. But in venues, the venue itself has its reflections in the room, you know? So anything where you want to use the venue as a source of reverberation, that's where you would flip the polarity of the reverb, you know? And what was that song by Queen? Pain is so close to pleasure. Yeah, it's an unpleasant width, but the thing's a little bit of it, a slight balance. If you do this on a snare drum, for example, right, just a slight little bit of that polarity, width on the fundamental of the reverb, and that's gonna sound wide on a headphone, nice, thick and wide, a bit like Espresso. You listen to Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. The engineers did their job right on there. That song's gonna bop in the club. On headphones, the width, because of polarity thing, is so subtle that it just about does that, you know what I mean? Like, just about hits. But other than that, it says the balance between the two. The fundamental of that snare, it has a bit of that polarity kind of thing. If you mono it on headphones, it's not going to sound so good. Well, it will, because it's been mixed well, but if you do, do that in a club, it'll make sense. Aw, thank you. I don't even think I'm making it necessary. I think that you're just a genius. I think that's what it is. I think you're like my type of audience, this is what I want. This is exactly what I'm looking for. You just know things. I give you like the most mildest freaking big ass freaking things, like clues, and you already get it and explain it like you're an expert on the matter. Yeah, I appreciate you being very kind to me, but I also know that you're actually really good at what you do. So yeah, thank you for that. That was really satisfying to see, like, you get. So yeah, because you already kind of do. All right, so I think that the best way to like teach someone stuff is by because just knowing that they know it already, but all you got to do is just bring it out of them, because they already know it. You already know this. You just got to bring it out just a little bit. That's it. Just encourage it to come out. Like, your knowledge is like, an egg. We just gotta like make that egg like, not be. We just gotta like make that egg a bit more like out of date so that it floats up to the surface. You already got the egg though, Yeah. All right. Let's take. That's such a bad analogy. Bloody hell. Okay, let's get onto your track. But yeah, this is it. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I do run a Discord server. I've not been able to like run it too deeply lately because of the fact that like I've been busy with a lot of work. Like, I've been working so hard. Oh my god, I've been working hard. I've been really overwhelmed. Danish songs, unless you have trained Danish recently, ignore the lyrics. Dude, don't worry about that. I'm gonna get it. Probably not the expository meaning of the lyrics, but I think I'll feel it. Let's take a look. Also, I should probably turn off all these effects, just so that we don't start on a weird point. Let's see this. Turn off this. We might need that actually. This, and turn this off, and delete these, because we're on to a different thing. Here we go. What's going on? Is that the type of width that we were? Okay, Control Alt B. I don't know. I'm just removing the width on the lower end. Have you used... How have you widened this mix? I'm curious. Okay. Okay. The song is good. The song is really cool, man. I actually really enjoy this. This is lovely. Gorgeous song. And it's a good remix. I mean, this is what did you say it was? It was Danish, right? Fader vor father. I'm assuming that means our father. So I'm assuming this is to do with either well, probably won't be the dad or whatever. It's probably to do with like you know, the Lord. I'm assuming this is one of those Maximus frequency widener. Okay, I don't know that one. Let me just take a look. Where is this? Here it is. All right. Maximus frequency widener. This is the corner. Yeah, just be careful of how you're doing the width over here, because it's a little bit unpleasant on the, you know, I would redo this mix in terms of with width. In terms of everything else, it sounds pretty nice, like the punchiness, everything. Just look at that stereo effect that you have on there. Yeah, bro. Do you have another version of this? I think you sent me another one just earlier. I'm just gonna see if that one is any different. Nothing but a sin. I think that one's different. Yeah, the width. Just do the width naturally. There's so many beautiful ways to bring width to instruments. You can do it with a reverb, with a small decay time and a small room size. You can also do it with what do you call it? The stereo delay, but be careful of that because sometimes it can sound like it's coming from one direction over the other. Another way would be to do various types of comb filtering between your left and rights, but only for the high frequencies. Keep your bass instruments and everything mono for now, right? If you want to widen them, make sure they don't feel too left heavy, right heavy, right? So listen out for your ears, like play one instrument and see, does it feel heavier on the right side like that? Or does it feel heavier like this? Or does it feel nice and neutral and balanced? Like you don't want it to be like that, So feel the weight. If you flip the polarity, if you flip the left and right channel in your master bus right at the end, and it feels like it's sounding completely different, and now your right ear is feeling that weight, then it's not stereo balanced. You know what I mean? So try to give that a shot. Like what I mean by that is this, right? So let me turn off the EQ. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this utility on. I'm going to flip it so that the left and right channel is flipped around. It's going to be a hard truth, I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's fine. And then now everything's moved to the left, isn't it? We do that, now it's everything moved to the right. Now the vocals are on the left. See when you turn this on and off? You see how flipping this makes it sound completely different, where the discomforts move from one side to another? Yeah, so try doing that thing where you swap the left and right channels right at the end of your master and then see if it feels stereo balanced. I think that will give you I think that would be a really fun little tool to use to see how that works out. I do want to listen to your other one though. I'm going to drag that in right now. Nothing but a sin. Okay.
Happiness feels like a tide.
Vocals pan to the right?
Through the pain you cannot hide.
Why? It's not an instrument.
Vax in vain, the moon up high. Happiness feels like a tide. So bad, nothing but
Keep vocals in the center. Boost the subs a little bit. And on the, let's start again. The plucks come in. The side frequencies on the lower mids around 300 to 280 hertz. But boost it around here. Yeah, only for those little plucky things that you're doing, right? Not for anything else. I'm just doing this as an example for that bit. There's too much. Even a 6 decibel on that pluck reduction on the sides, around 300 hertz. Now that that thing. Okay, And now, if I'm your producer, I would think that what you're going for is something a bit dark and gritty. So I wouldn't just like randomly throw up some high end. Well, 1.3 kilohertz would be a good region for you to boost that area. Like that little bit. Beautiful. Welcome ED2033. If you want to submit a link, please take a look at this over here. Just submit your track over here. I'd be very happy to take a look. Yeah. I would love to take a look. I'd be very, very happy to take a look. So please be encouraged to do so. Sorry if MooBot is acting a bit weird. I don't actually even know how to use that properly. Yeah. But yeah. So let's see what we have. By the way, this little frequency area is only for that synth that you have, not for everything else. Just everything else is perfect. That's brutal. Look, if you're taking notes, I want you to know that anytime I find an area to boost, I'll give you the secret sauce of how I know which area to boost for what instrument. For boosting, I'm thinking of timbre. I'm trying to see like, okay, which area has the most spiciest timbre that you are looking for? I know for a fact that this is supposed to be a dark, gritty shit, right? And so I'm thinking here because I know that naturally speaking, if we're talking about like brightness, the brightness timbre would be... This is where I would think like 5.6 kilohertz would make it sound bright. But you see how we've drawn a line, like a line of symmetry. Instead of doing this, we're doing like this side, we're doing this side. You know, we're kind of going between the two. We've picked this area because this is like the darker areas of your timbre, you know? Around 830. So you can see all these different parts that you might want to raise. So that's the trick. It's not about boost this only, it's about which part of your timbre do you want to crunch through. And over here, you're getting grit in that way when you get that new part introduced. Ugh, it's disgusting. You know, like over here on 4 kilohertz for that bass, only that bass, not every other track you've done, but it really depends. You listen for that timbre, like, not this, is landing there closer so you can hear it. Not this. Somewhere here. This is where you're getting, you know? That's where you're getting that grit. Around here, you feel it, like the, like all that transient detail, like right in that region. You don't hear it like over here. Over here, you hear like weird phasiness. No, but, you know? And I'm doing weird sounds, but it's the best way to like demonstrate the idea, you know? Like, I don't know. Sorry if it's weird, but you get it. You get it. It's like... That's what you're looking for. You're looking for that facial expression. Okay.
Happiness feels like a tide through the pain.
So I've turned off everything because everything's fine here.
Surveying the moon up high. Happiness feels like a tide. So bad, nothing but a sin.
That's what you want. Over here, maybe not so much, but this is beautiful. Over here, you don't want to reduce everything, just the mids. But if you're gonna do that, you need to increase some of these 7 point. Only for that bass, nothing else. Everything else is splendid. Everything else is perfect. Okay, that would probably have to be. Nah, it'd have to be a stereo. It'd have to be everything. Yeah. But you see how everything else is getting crunched in a bad way? We just want it for that bass. That's it. What was that? That seemed like a really cool fill. See, having juxtapositions and contrast. But also some of the high end as well. Oh, too sharp. Yeah, you need some of the high end to come back. Polarization is what creates contrast, right? So you see, like, dipping certain areas and having like big increases here and a dip between. These things will help create a bit of contrast in the mix, you know. But obviously, like, don't. In fact, actually, just ignore what I said. Just look at the other stuff I said, because when you're looking at timbre, that first just look at the timbre, right? Because I'm gonna do another stream next week as well. So do definitely send any updates, anything you have. I'm going to do this every single week. Like, that's something I'm trying to make sure I stick to, you know. But yeah, definitely add a bit more of that timbre in there. You know how to find the timbre now. There's different variants of how you can find the timbre. There's a dark timbre, there's a bright timbre, right? You, at the end of the day, you're looking for that texture, the specific texture that you really find that just grits through. You know. Is this what you're looking for? Maybe this. And okay, let's find a darker area. Not this. Maybe if you want it darker, maybe a bit of increasing in the fundamental region. That area is a fundamental. Brings weight. So let's do that. In this region, you don't want that. And also get that sub a little bit hard. Because it's supposed to be a little bit gritty, brutal. I'm doing this stuff on an EQ because I don't have access to your stems. But the second you have your stems, I want you to basically like do it with the elements, not through this. This is, if you put this on your master channel, this is not the right way to do it. This is just a demonstration. And when I'm doing this stuff, I hope you're listening to those specific things that I'm listening to, which is like the and when I'm tweaking this, I hope you're listening to only the sub, you know, not like everything blended together. And I hope you know, so that's basically the general gist of it. So yeah, that's where we're kind of at. But yeah, I mean, I know it sounds like a lot, but like, you know, we'll be doing this like, this, I don't know. I don't really think I put too much effort into like, you know, I mean, I have a Switch, you know, like in terms of streaming, I don't put any effort into it as far as I know. But in terms of like giving analysis, like, no, streaming is the thing that I put effort in, but in analysis, it's like, I go into a switch mode where it's like, okay, mixing mode. I know this is what I need. This is what I want. This is what the artist is envisioning. If you know, this whole thing I was talking about earlier on about like AI and all that stuff and all whatever. But like, honestly, I'm not afraid at all. And the reason why is because, you know, there's always going to be room for collaboration. It's just that producers nowadays are just not really worth collaborating with. You know, they're kind of a pain in the ass to collaborate with. So, I mean, especially since every producer, like not every, but like most producers kind of just want to do their own thing. And like, even when they're collaborating with other artists, they kind of want to use the, you know, technical know-how that they have as a way to kind of be arrogant. And I've seen this way too many times, and I get way too frustrated. It's like, homie, I'm not frustrated because you're bothering artists. Like, fine, be an asshole to them, but at the same time, you're gonna lose your gig. It's gonna come anytime. And I said this back in 2020. I said this so many times. You gotta know the artist's vision, worship that vision, and that is the only thing that matters. If you are the technical guy, that is the only thing that matters. If you want to be an artist as well, approach it as an artist, but then improve your skills as an artist. You can't just be that guy who is sitting there tweaking serum and massive knobs or whatever, like massive synth, you know, that synth by Native Instruments, or Vital, you're like tweaking knobs until it sounds good. You can't be them people, yo. Stop it, please. That's not good. Be an artist. Get the sound you want in your brain first before you start applying it, you know? And so that's the general gist of it, man. You know, fuck production, fuck, you know, technical know-hows. I know so much technical shit nowadays. I know, you know, I've read like a lot of the AES documentation, which is the Audio Engineering Society shit. I've read the I remember this one thing, which is like a really user-friendly manual that the International Telecommunications Union has given, which is the BSITU 1770. Let me just get that over here. BS 17 ITU BS 1770 radio telecommunications number 5. Okay, let's go with this one. So this documentation, right, this is quote unquote technical. This is not hard to learn. You can learn this in minutes if you wanted to, right? This is going over the K-weighted filter, the RLB filter, the revised low B-weighted filter that goes over the coefficients, 1 kilohertz, and there's a roll-off, which is going to be over here. It goes over loudness, how to make things louder. It goes over, like, you know, their perception of the average head-related transfer function that I was talking about earlier on. And honestly, like, no, I can learn massive amounts of stuff, and I'm not expert. Dude, this stuff is easy, right? The thing that is actually hard, like, and for everyone, every single person that exists, this stuff is dirt easy, like learning 2 + 2, compared to just being an artist. Being an artist requires so much creativity. It requires so much open-mindedness. It requires you to be able to borrow and, you know, participate in philosophy, understand like historical and cultural and historical context, cultural context, and, you know,
connotational, you got to know all of these things. You got to feel them out. This is a lot deeper than technical stuff, which people have already given you. We are not engineers. People that call themselves mixing engineers are not mixing engineers nowadays, because these guys are just people using VST to make their drums pop in a little bit more. That's all it is. They're not engineers. Engineers are the people that are actually doing real-time digital signal processing, DSP stuff. People that actually understand everything to do with these things. And how people that are like perceiving themselves to be engineers just so that they can feel a bit more fancy and arrogant, like fuck that shit, man. You're a mixing guy. You're not a mixing engineer. Get the fuck out of here. You did not create Pro L2. You're using it. You know what I mean? So that's using all of these tools, knowing how the compressor works is really easy compared to being a creative. Being a creative is really, really tricky. Being able to write a song when you need to on the spot. If someone comes up to you and says, write a song right now. Go, write a song now. You need to be able to do that. If you're not able to, you're technically like that guy who's like, in the burger flipping place, right? And he's flipping burgers, and then that guy is, oh shit, I have a burger flipping block. Oh, I can't flip burger. Oh, burger flipping block. Oh shit. And then he just stops, and then the burger that's on the thing is burning, and then there's a fire, and then everything just fucking breaks down because now the entire restaurant's on fire. GG Burger King. You got a guy who got a freaking burger flipping block, and now your entire restaurant's blown up. When in reality, the way that it actually works is if you are a songwriter or an artist or whatever, you don't get songwriting blocks. Because they don't get burger flipping blocks. And no, if someone says that, oh yeah, well, burger flipping is easier, or, even if they say something like, oh, burger flipping's for people that don't know how to do anything important in life. I'm an artist and all that shit. I am the wow guy. Well, okay, fine. Even if we go by that stupid ass logic, burger flipping, by the way, does require a lot of, it's an art form, right? Let's not get it twisted. But let's say it's not. Let's say it's nothing, right? Even then, right? If you want to be a condescending piece of shit, let's be all of us condescending pieces of shit, right? All right. That burger flipping guy has taken a job to be a burger flipper because that's the thing that he feels he is best qualified for. What are you qualified for? Are you qualified to be a songwriter? Are you a qualified songwriter, or are you somebody that's just, putting down others and thinks you're just so obnoxious? If you can't write a song like this right now, and if you can't be an artist like this right now, I'm sorry, you are self-glorified. So humble your asses and understand that being an artist is a lot more tricky than it might be, than it might appear to be. You can't be pretentious, you can't be obnoxious about it, you can't be arrogant about it. There's nothing fancy about being an artist. You're a servant. That's all you are. You're nothing but a fucking servant, right? That is your job. You need to be able to, and you know what? If you're an artist, and by the way, I'm talking commercially, right? You need to be able to understand what the freaking audience is looking for. You can't just be an artist and say, oh, I'm abstract, and throw bullshit together. You gotta know. Like, I'll give you an example, because it sounds like I'm just talking shit without any like reference for what I've done, right? Like, for one of my artists, she wanted like one of those drum boxy thingy majiggies, like in her music, because her like gang used to do that in her thing, in their little groups. She like guys sat on the box and they felt really hippie vibes, and he would like bang on the box. So I'm like, all right, yeah, we can put that in there. After that, conversation was over, I went off and I spent like I don't know, like 4.5 hours just doing research on that freaking instrument. It's called a cajon, right? That box. It's an Afro-Peruvian instrument which was used, in the 18th century, 1800s. I think that's called the 19th century. But there were roots going back way before then too. But
within the contemporary, and if we really push it together to call it contemporary, 1800, late 1800s, or even like mid 1800s, to how it was used in like the early 90s. Not 90s, sorry, 1900s, like 1920 and so on. The way that instrument had shifted and formed, it started off as a sad instrument. It started off as an instrument that was to be something for slower, a little bit sadder type of vibes, all those things. It only shifted a little bit later on after the 20s. And it's at that point where you're looking at, okay, look, we got historical context of what that instrument is actually supposed to be, right? We're not just gonna throw shit on because of the fact that it sounds good, bruh. If it sounds good, look, I'm all about rock and roll. I think it's all about breaking rules. I have had so many performances where I have actually like just broken something, I remember like roughly 6 performances ago, I had a guitar on me. I have like 7-8 guitars on me, like over here. I'm not sure if you can see them. I have a bunch of guitars over here. I've got a few guitars over here. I've got a freaking MIDI jamstick thing over here. I love guitars. I love rock and roll, dude. And you know what? I remember about 6 performances ago, I literally smashed my guitar into a freaking speaker because, I had enough to drink that night. Rock and roll, that's the way to go. I love violence. I love violence, drugs, sex, alcohol, everything. Do it. Breaking all the rules. That is what it's about, man. I love that shit. But the thing is, now rock and roll has come to another point. I feel that rock and roll is a lot more eloquent. I feel that with how complicated the world's gotten, rock and roll is basically like knowing every single rule, knowing the law, empathizing with the law, understanding the law, feeling it, understanding the rules, knowing everybody around you and how they might feel about the rules, and being able to connect with the rules as if you came out with them yourself. And upon doing all of those things and all that knowledge you've acquired from this deep-rooted empathy for the system and all these things that confine you, once you have empathy towards it, now you know it, and then you turn that into a precision strike. You put it together and you destroy that in the most harshest, most debilitating, destructive way possible. It's like knowing you have a relationship, knowing her traumas, understanding everything she's been through, her parents, her childhood, her growth, and all of these different things, knowing everything about her in the most religious way almost, so that one day you can be like, tell me every weakness so I can push you through to the freaking brink. Rock and roll is no longer a grenade in a freaking room. Rock and roll now is a precision strike on a bigger system. We need to know everything about it before we can truly be a destructive force. So understand why you're using what you're using. Understand the instruments. Understand every little artistic detail. These things are important. These things is good to know. Because if you know them, and you feel them and what they used to be, you can then break those rules. And I'll give you an example, because there are people that have broken rules and they've not done it correctly. That's not cool. Like, if I have somebody that is gonna be like using autotune or something like that, and they're not using it right, they just like cranked it and they don't exactly know what they're doing, it's gonna sound cringe. It's gonna sound one of those trap beats which just sound cheap. But if you use autotune with the hue of Melodyne, but you increase the retune speeds in a way which is sounding like you're using a very aggressive autotune, and you know how you're making it sound really cheap, and you make it sound cheap in an eloquent way, dude, you hit something on the nail. You've hit it hard. You know what I mean? Like, now you're gonna sound like you're a freaking trap artist who is, that's what Travis Scott did. Do you know how many freaking producers out there have done things where it's like, oh god, those cheap rappers with their shitty bars. They're trying to break rules, but the rules that they're breaking aren't even broken properly. So that's what I mean. Being an artist is more difficult than one might think. It is not, doing this. Oh yes, No, you gotta do it right. You gotta do it right. You gotta know everything. You gotta be well educated, well informed. You gotta know what it's about, and then challenge those things in the most concise way, in a creative way. There needs to be an excessiveness of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's see. Exactly, well put indeed. I'm a nerd clicking shit on my screen, and plus is that I have become decent at it. Look, if you're clicking stuff, that's one thing. No problem. You can tweak things forever, but before you start tweaking things forever on your Serum or Vital or Massive or whatever synth you're using, have the vision in your head first of exactly what you want it to sound like. Know exactly what it's supposed to come across through your speakers before you even start. Because here's the thing, right? I'm gonna get Paint open again. Let me just delete all of this. Okay, let's start again. If we are right, if we're in a situation where it's like, okay, actually we don't even need a square for this. If you're gonna tweak and you're just like, oh, down here somewhere, and you're tweaking, oh, one day it will sound good, oh, one day it will sound good, one day it will sound good, you're not gonna get anywhere. But do you know what an artist does? If you're an artist and you choose to be the artist side of your brain, this is the artist. This is literally what the artist is. The producer of you, inside of you, is gonna be doing this. You go, oh no, I don't know what's going on. I want this. I don't know. And then boom, you stop that. That's it. You got your sound. You're done. No más. Fini. No more. That is it. Because you got exactly what you wanted. Because you had the vision as an artist. Distinguish the two, you know what I'm saying? Many expect me to be an everything music man. Whenever I say make music and I do everything myself, there's no room to only decent and still learning if you call yourself an artist. Decent is if you call yourself an artist. I would say that's a stereotype. I would say that an artist is the guy with the vision. And you know, if you're the guy with the vision, make sure your production skills, your technical skills are just there to help you reach that, right? If I'm playing guitar, the artist in me is like, oh, I want to go down this type of scale in this type of fashion, whatever. I want it to feel like this, and I want it to be exactly like that. The more concise I am, I want it to be within the, you know, the first, the third, then I want to go back to the first and the fifth. The more concise you get, the sharper you are, trained as an artist. The producer as a guitarist would be the guy with the dexterity, the technical skills, you know? You need those technical skills to serve that proper vision that you have. That, no, there is no, but this is no, but that, no. It's about the artist vision. Be an artist, right? Many expect me to be an everything music man. Whenever I say make music and I do everything myself, there's no room to only decent and still learning. If you call yourself an artist, and you do it right and you actually put as much effort into it as people, you know, as you have into your technical skills, I think that you would reach a point which is so good that, you know, to you might think that I could do better, but to others you won't reach, it won't be like that. I think to others it will be like, you know, oh, this is really good, I can't find flaws in it. Remember, you're your own verse critique, right? There was this guy that I spoke to. He's one of my best friends. His name's Derek, and he likes to paint what do you call it, dwarven hammer 9000 thingy majig, I don't know. It's figurines. He likes to cook up, like, paint figurines. And he gave me some advice, which was really, really beautiful. He told me that whenever he paints these figurines, he's thinking about it like, how far are people going to be looking at it from, right? Are they going to be looking at it from like a shelf? Are they going to be taking a look at it from like right up close like I have? You know? And when he told me that, it blew my mind. It stopped me from overdoing things. It stopped me from over mixing. It stopped me from doing that 0.3 decibel dip with a sharp Q factor at like, you know, 7.138 hertz. Sorry, 7,138 hertz, you know, and trying to find between 7,138 and 7,139 hertz, trying to find the exact little tweak. stop you from doing all that bullshit, because people are not looking from that distance. People are looking from a little bit of a distance, right? You're the one looking at it sample to sample. They're looking at it from here to here, you know? So in that regard, it's like, do we really need to make it something which is a little bit more like, just make it as good as the distance that you want people to perceive it as. And being an artist, I think you can, you know, once you hone in on exactly what your vision is, the technical things, getting towards it, you can kind of chill that a little bit, right? Because the thing that you did in regards to these mixing ideas, like, oh, this needs to be increased or this needs to be reduced, the things that I did, that was not a technical thing. Anyone can use an EQ. That was not a producer thing. That was an artist thing. The producer side of me was the guy that was like, oh, I know how to drag this thing up and down because the guys made it super user-friendly. Producing is easy nowadays. This is not a difficult thing. Being an artist is harder. Let's see. I do everything myself because I know absolutely no musician IRL, not even remotely close to being a musician. Even so, let's saw an engineer. Exactly. Yeah, they're just not engineers, man. They call themselves these things and they don't know what they're lying. They're not engineers. None of these people have, like, at all ever repaired any piece of analog equipment, right? Or even like opened one up or even owned one, right? None of these guys have done anything to do with digital signal processing. They have not looked at coefficients or constructed their own ones. These guys don't even know the basics of how to make a freaking FLAC file, dude. They don't understand how FLAC stream works. And that's not even an engineer thing. That's a, you know, mastering dude thing, right? But they don't even know that. So how can they call themselves engineers? Everyone needs to humble their asses, lower their standards, not lower their standards, but like lower their perception of their own standard. Understand they're not at that point. Let's humble ourselves, right? We're not there yet. They don't know about the Vorbis comment block, you know, and how to do metadata in an interesting, you know, in a compelling way. They don't know how to like make like the padding into something which is a little bit spicy, because you can have like, you know, your own little signature in the padding. They don't know how to even insert a freaking, these quote unquote producers, they're not producers, they're beat makers. These producers, what they end up doing is they send a wave file as the final thing to their client. Shame, big shame, big shame. How are you gonna send a wave file to your client as a quote unquote producer? Are you retarded? I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. Like, if this is wave file specifically for something or whatever because they want to make tweaks to it, or they want to put it on like Final Cut Pro or something, fair enough, I guess, whatever. But no, you send them a distribution copy. You send them a FLAC. Man, this is what I mean. I've just been getting so sick of it. Like, this is why, right? People who make beats have such a bad impression. This is why artists don't like quote unquote producers. The only way I'm making a living right now is because of the fact that I got lucky with a couple of artists that had never been to producers, because those people, well, some had and they got ghosted or whatever, and I got, you know, they brought me in. And every one of my gigs right now, apart from a few strays here and there, have been word of mouth. These guys are like rich people and they refer me to other people that want to get songs done, and they're like, hey, can you know, this guy. And you know what, I'm over there with them, and I'm over there listening to them, you know, understanding their vision, serving and worshipping their vision. Yes, sometimes, you know, like worshipping the vision means, or like, you know, serving the vision means not serving your client. But like, there's a difference. There's a really, really specific thing. Like, the artist's vision might not be the client's vision at times. What I mean is that sometimes an artist might come up to me and they'll say this and that, whatever, and then they become a client, and now we're working together, and now the client is having a freak out. But the artist in them knows what's, you know, I'm not gaslighting anyone, I just know. Beat makers are basically EJ users. I know 2025 nowadays, since it's all about making music into a puzzle full of pre-made samples. Look, a producer's job, in my opinion,
is get and based on historicals as well, a producer's job is to get a song from A to fucking B. That is it. No one's telling you to do anything more than that. No, stop trying to be a creative when you don't need to be a creative, and be a creative when you need to be a creative. You know, serve the fucking song, serve the track. Know what the artist wants and serve that. If you don't want to work with that artist because you only want to make hits based on what you think is going to be a hit, don't work with that artist. Die hungry, please, because you're ruining it for the rest of us. You know, we need people to have a more of a, producers, quote unquote, to have a more of a, you know, understanding, an empathetic role. We need them to have a therapeutic role almost, you know, a role which has patience in it. You know, these are the things that make a good producer. The producer that, you know, is like, hey, I know you're getting a little bit frustrated because I know you feel that you may be sounding a bit nasally, you know, because you mentioned that to me. You know what you could do? How about we find where that resonance is coming from in your room? I think we could have a good time with that, don't you? Or like, if the client is stubborn, you know, being that guy who's like, all right, I know what they're actually looking for, and I know they don't want to tweak their room or whatever. Or maybe they just have a low budget. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my door and maybe just help it a little bit by reducing around 996 hertz or like something like that, like a sharp dip to reduce that nasal thing just a little bit, but then enrich it with a little bit of saturation in the low mid so that doesn't feel like it's a dip around 1 kilohertz. So it kind of blends together and then compress it and sound it. You know, I'm sorry, man. Like, this is what a producer's supposed to do. It's not supposed to be somebody who is a producer supposed to serve it. You know? And if you serve and you have servitude and you worship the artist's vision like it's your god, you know, not literally, but you do, you know, you do serve it like a god because it's not a idol. So even if you're a Christian or whatever, you can serve it as a god because it's not an actual idol or a physical being or anything like that. It's a concept, right? So it's, you know, if you just worship that, serve it, give it everything, you drop your pride and your ego for it, you can get a lot more than you might think, you know? You will get like the person who wanted that song to be really, really happy. And also within your own heart, you know that you have not cheaped out on this person. You've used every trick under your sleeve and they might not understand every little bit of it, but you made it an industry standard and they can trust you for that. That's a producer. So yeah, well, that's pretty much the gist of it for today. I mean, I don't know. I think I've had a lot of fun going over some crazy things, you know, today in the stream. I enjoyed, like, you know, conversing, and thank you so much for listening as well. In all honesty, I've had a lovely time. Especially, you know, thank you, Victor. Is honestly like yeah, I hope you come by again, and next week we'll try to do something a little bit more more music things. I think that this time around people got a bit confused because I started the stream a little bit late, but then also I don't think anyone got notifications for this stream, you know. I think because I did it as a short, so hopefully there's something we can build up together. Yeah, we'll have a little bit of fun. We have everything that we could possibly need. We have Ableton, FL, we have Cubase. Actually, I'm waiting for Cubase 15 to come out because then I will activate my license. I bought it at a discount in October, so yeah. But yeah, thank you so much, man. We can pretty much call it for now. I am very hungry. Yeah, and I'm supposed to, like, you know, spend time with some friends, but other than that, I mean, you know what? I have been spending time with a friend, you, Victor. I tell you what, join my Discord server if that is something you have. Discord.gg/audio.
this is my Discord server if you wanna. Yeah. Oh, do you have any questions, by the way, before I cut the stream? Any last minute lesson ideas, things to do with kicks, this, that, whatever? How can I do this or that? Are you prepared for your submission next week? Is there any other questions? If not, then I guess, you know, I guess this is it. Thank you so much for hopping in tonight, and you know, thanks for watching. All right, now here's the thing about these things. I actually don't really know how to end these streams, so it's gonna be one of those situations where like it's gonna start off with me trying to figure out how to end it, but in reality it's gonna be relatively awkward. So you might run into a situation where